Welcome back to the Cope Well podcast, where we explore mindful behavior therapy strategies for all of us navigating the challenging world of ineffective coping strategies or behaviors. I'm your host, Dr. Ashley DeLucia, and today I wanted to share something that might surprise you: how your child's ability to focus their attention could be the key to unlocking better behavior and emotion regulation. I've come across several folks recently needing resources for ADHD or just helping with improving attention. And I'll bring this all together for you today because knowing how attention and emotion regulation are connected makes so much sense. So if you've been wondering why your child seems to explode over small things or struggles to follow through on tasks or has difficulty calming down when they're upset, today's episode might just change how you see those challenges. We're going to talk about the connection between attention and behavior, and I'll give you some practical strategies you can start using today. Let's start with a fact, a reality check here. If you're feeling like your child's ability to focus attention has gotten worse over the years, or if you think your kids can't pay attention like you used to, you're not imagining things. I wrote an article for LinkedIn on this, and recent data from schools across the country tell us that 75% of public school leaders are reporting that student inattention is negatively impacting learning. That makes so much sense. But it's concerning because 26% say that the impact from inattention is severe and it's causing major issues for schools. And you guys may have heard the eye-opening statistic about Gen Zers. They say that Gen Z kids have an average attention span of about 8 seconds. And I've heard that that's shorter than a goldfish, which is crazy to me. So as parents, you may see this playing out at home. I know I am. My son will ask me a question and actually switch topics before I even get the chance to answer his question. So if you're thinking like I am, okay, but does my kid have ADHD and why should I care about attention spans? This is really what I want to address with you today, because the connection between attention and behavior goes much deeper than most of us realize. A scenario for you is if your kid comes home from school, you may ask them to start their homework, and right away they get frustrated, maybe even have a meltdown. And what we often see as defiance or emotional overreaction is actually more complex. When kids struggle to focus their attention, they're also struggling to regulate their emotions. And those two systems in their brain are really connected. The neuroscience is really cool. If you've heard or if you've listened to any of my past episodes where I talk about the 3 states of mind, I explain the different parts of our brain and our bodies. And the prefrontal cortex, which I call the CEO, it really is like a CEO of the brain because it handles executive functioning like attention and emotion regulation, right? Those are both parts that are taken care of with the prefrontal cortex. And the kicker for us parents is that that part of the brain isn't fully developed until around the age of 24, so mid-20s. So our kids are working with developing hardware while we're expecting them to know better or to run like a more advanced software version. But it explains so much of what you may be seeing. It explains what I'm seeing. If your child can't focus on their homework, their brain is also having trouble managing the frustration that comes with that struggle. So it's not that they don't want to behave. Their brain literally doesn't have the fully developed tools yet. Let's pause for a mindful moment. Take a breath with me. As you're listening, I want you to notice something. right now, in this moment, you're focused. You're paying attention to my voice. You're following the thread of my conversation. That's your attention system working. Now notice if your mind starts to wander during our conversation so far. Maybe you thought about your to-do list or something with your kid this morning. Normal, but notice how when your attention wandered, you might have missed some information. And this is exactly what's happening with our kids. But imagine if that happened dozens of times throughout the day. So here's where this gets really hopeful for us as parents. Research on mindfulness-based interventions shows us that we can actually strengthen the attention and emotion regulation skills. And it doesn't take complicated tools. So studies showed that with early adolescents, mindfulness training produces measurable improvements in attention, so attentional, emotional, behavioral self-regulation. So we're talking about real lasting changes in how kids approach challenges, manage their internal experiences, regulate their emotions. But I want to be clear about what this looks like in real life, because I know when we hear mindfulness, you might picture kids cross-legged or, sitting still for 20 minutes. And that's not the reality of mindfulness in today's classrooms. If you're familiar with any of the resources that I've created for use in classrooms, you'll notice that they are shorter. A lot of this is strategic because we need to meet the kids where they're at. So if we're talking about strategies that actually work for real kids, real families, one of the tools I'm going to share with you is a 2-minute reset. The 2-minute reset. So when you notice your child getting overwhelmed, say it's that homework scenario, and they're getting frustrated, maybe they're escalating. Sibling conflicts, that's a good one. So say you've got 2 kids and they're arguing. Instead of immediately jumping to consequences or problem solving, try a 2-minute attention reset. And this could be as simple as having them focus on their breathing while you count to 20 together, or having them name 5 things in the room that they can see. That's one of the strategies I've shared in the past. The key here is that you're not trying to solve the original problem yet. You're just helping their brain get back online, so to speak, so that they can solve the problem. If any of you are thinking that sounds great, but my child is never going to sit still for breathing exercises, I hear you. That's why we start small and meet kids where they are. And we personalize the breathing. That's an easy one to personalize. Make sure you're doing a breath technique that they enjoy, that they love, right? That's going to really help there. And for the child that can't sit still, do a walking breath work. That's one of my favorite ways to skill stack is I walk, and with each step I'm counting so I can do box breath. So it's an inhale for 4, a hold for 4, exhale for 4, hold for 4, and I'm just matching it with my steps. And having them focus on that is really going to help because you're getting them to pay attention, right? You could just have them focus on the feeling of their feet hitting the ground. And for anyone who has a child that's big with sensory, so maybe they're sensory seeking, use movement-based attention practices. You could do a balancing pose or squeezing, focusing on the feeling of squeezing and releasing their body parts. I have a progressive muscle relaxation video on YouTube. Try with them. And the goal isn't stillness, it's attention training. And you can pay attention and train your brain to pay attention in lots of different ways. So the attention can be trained through movement just as effectively as through stillness. Another thing to remember here, that this isn't another thing to add to your to-do list. It's a tool to make everything easier. 2-minute reset. That's really all you need, is little bits of time. Big picture, I want you to understand that when we help our kids develop better attention skills, we're not just improving their behavior in the moment. We're giving them fundamental life skills. Children who develop strong attention skills are going to experience enhanced emotional stability. They are going to have better relationships, better social skills, because they can be more present with their friends. Their anxiety and stress levels are going to go down because they'll have the tools to manage overwhelming moments, and they're going to have the awareness to notice how they're feeling in each moment when they pay attention to their feelings. And yes, academic performance typically improves too, but really that's like a side effect. That's a bonus. That's a cherry on top. The real gift you're giving them is that emotional resilience and self-regulation skills. They're going to need those their whole life. We need those, right? So where should you start? 2-minute reset. And I'm going to link a video for boosting attention from my YouTube channel. I made a video to help you focus attention both auditorily and visually as a quick practice, and it's 2 minutes. So I would say try that 2-minute reset, or watch the video each day for 1 week. Just 1 week, see what happens, see if you can improve your attention, and see if it improves not just with your child's behavior, but with the overall energy in your home, because you're being intentional about making things better. So see if it shifts the energy. And remember, we're looking for small shifts and little things you can do that actually make a big impact. So maybe your kids' meltdowns are a little bit shorter. Maybe they ask for help instead of throwing something because they know you have available tools that you're teaching them, and then eventually they'll pick up on them. Hopefully bedtime will get smoother, or transitions will get easier, and the small changes are going to compound over time. Model this for your child. I feel like I say this every episode, but that's where we make so much of an impact. When you're feeling overwhelmed, narrate your own attention reset. I'm feeling really stressed right now. I'm going to take 3 deep breaths to help my brain calm down. Our kids learn more from what we do than what we say. Actions matter, not words. As we wrap up today's episode, I want you to remember that challenging behaviors are usually signs of an overwhelmed nervous system. Okay, kids aren't purposely trying to be defiant, usually. And when we approach our kids' struggles through the lens of attention and emotion regulation, we move from reacting to their behavior to supporting their developing brain. I think it helps a lot to know their brain. They just aren't there yet. The journey to better focus and emotion regulation starts with those small, consistent steps, and every moment of practice attention is really an investment in your child's future emotional health and your family's peace. Check out that 2-minute attention booster on the YouTube. It's perfect for families because it's been classroom tested, right? So it's designed to work even with resistant kids. You can find the link in the show notes, and I encourage you to watch it with your child. Sometimes seeing someone else model the techniques makes all the difference, and you don't need the technology to do it. Once you learn the techniques, you can clap your hands to focus on the sound auditorily. You can move your finger back and forth to focus on something visual. You don't need the video. That's just giving you the tools so you understand how to create more mindfulness and build attention. Be patient with the process. Be patient with your child. Be patient with yourself. You're not just managing behavior, you're helping your child's mind develop. And share this with any other parent who might need to hear the message. Thank you for supporting your child's emotional growth. And until next time, cope well.